Oh, it's interesting. So, yeah, what I found fascinating is that so many people, I guess this is politics, I'm assuming. I just found so many people were against Trump when he was running to be the nominee back in 2016. There's quotes from all kinds of Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, just all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, we go, oh no, he's our hero. Is that, excuse me, I guess that's just politics. You sort of
Okay.
let somebody say all these horrible things about you, say horrible things about them, which is what I feel is how they really truly feel. So then when I see them go, well, actually, he's a great guy, I love him to death, it's like, wait a second, I'm just a normal American, so I'm just thinking, wait a second, that's right, like that just it seems odd to me.
It may be the reverse, however. The tension and the bricks thrown back and forth are a product of the political battle. You had 17 Republicans running for president who
I see what
agree,
you're saying.
by definition, they agree on most things. But if, let's say, you and I are two of them, let's say we're the last two left and we're in the same party, we agree on most things, I can't focus on that. I got to
Yeah.
focus on the differences we have. And by the way, you're a bum, and you've got to say, well, but you're wrong about this, and and you're a terrible person. So, and that's what makes everybody so weary, and the fatigue sets in with the negative ads. And boy, in this home stretch now, you can't
Yeah.
watch TV without "my opponent is a nasty communist devil worshiper." I was like, whoa, wait a minute, what? Don't you just really kind of disagree on the issues? Yeah, but who listens to that? So that's what the primaries are. It will always be, once the primaries are over, kumbaya, all is forgiven, everything's fine, he's swell. After something as contentious as the Republican primaries in 2016, people still can't believe that Ted Cruz can stand the sight of President Trump. Trump was talking about stuff about his dad,
Yeah, exactly.
the
That's
unflattering thing
exactly.
about his
Yeah.
wife. Are you kidding me? But
I
that
mean,
was
Ted
just
Cruz is a Texan. I'm like, dude, you're a Texan, bro. You need to stand up for your
exactly.
family, yourself. What are you doing?
So what is the explanation of? The explanation of it is it's just Trump. He has, like, there's a 9-year-old in there that has a phone, and there's part of your Twitter feed, and it's like, okay, but is that the guy you're going to deal with every day as president? And is the far more important thing the results that we're trying to achieve? And the answer to that is yes. Now, a final addendum to the notion of people who didn't like Trump then and still don't, supposedly in Republican land. Remember when I said the change is real? The change was not just conservative progress against a liberal agenda. It was the old way of being a Republican. The go along, get along. We got to make sure we're still getting into Georgetown cocktail parties. We got to make sure the media don't dislike us. Anytime the media culture came after a Republican, for decades, the usual reply was, thank you, sir, may I have another? Or just not really to engage. Well, like it or don't, Trump engages. My Lord, the fighting spirit in this man, blasting through the people who come at him. He fights and he fights back. This is a whole new way of being a conservative, a whole new way of selling conservatism, a whole new way of being a Republican. And the Republican voter base, vast majority of it, loves it. Old, dyed-in-the-wool establishment Republicans hate it because it identified them as kind of a weak Casper milquetoast way of governing. There's a new sheriff in town, and it has and the people respected conservatives like Bill Kristol and George Will, who have been favoring things in the Trump agenda forever, but now they hate his guts. Why? Because he's just too abrasive. There's just something, and also Bill Kristol is kind of a moderate to even liberal on borders, so the tough immigration policies left him cold. For George Will, George Will is a patrician, and I love George Will, or I have, is a patrician establishment country club kind of guy for whom the Trump approach is just kryptonite. So even though the agenda is shared, the tactics and the flavor and the style, and that's what this whole never Trump cult is about. These people just hate his guts because he has shown a light on how ineffective their flavor of leadership has been.
So you think that Trump Gosh, I said, so you think it's more just the way he does it, not really just what he's saying, right? So you're saying it's that, and you think that's the new way of being a conservative and Republican. And so, do you like this new approach of, or do you think do you think it's just that the way he talks about liberals so much, right? Like it's like anti-liberal as opposed to pro-conservative. Does that make sense? Like he's so right.
It's funny is that it depends on what you hear, because life is long, the days are long. His presidency has been long, too long for some, not long enough for others. But does he speak out against the leftist agenda? Absolutely. But does he speak out in favor of conservative things? He's in favor of protecting the unborn, in favor of strong borders, in favor of backing law enforcement, in favor of environmental sanity, in favor of, I mean, it is not in any way purely a negative beatdown message. If it's, and I don't mean this, if it's your message, it might seem that way. It's like, wow, coming after me all the time. But it's funny. I mean, flip the coin. I perceive the Biden campaign as having been very negative toward a lot of things that I believe. But guess what? That's kind of the way it works. Because if I'm running against you, I got two jobs. Tell everybody why my views are great and yours are not. And your job is to describe why your views have merit and mine don't. In other words, positivity and uplift toward your side while coming at my side. That's all thoroughly natural. Now, the difference has been, I mean, if you go back to the George W. Bush campaign, the Bob Dole campaign against Clinton in 1996, you know, to use it, one successful example, one unsuccessful example. In no way did we have the kind of sharp elbows, the kind of volume, and part of that's Twitter, social media. Can you imagine social media if we had it in the 60s or something like that? Ugh. So this is unprecedented, no doubt about it. Is that the forever new way to be conservative? Is this going to be the flavor of discourse forever? Not necessarily, and I don't know if I want it to be. People call me a lot over the last 4 years, and they say, Mark, I agree with everything Trump does. If you give me a list of his achievements, I support absolutely every single one of them. But the tweets make me a little crazy. Some of the stuff he said about McCain, or some of the things in the heat of a battle, he'll be a little petty, a little small, and I hate that. I wish I could have all the positives and none of the negatives. Okay, I don't know if that person exists. It may be that the buzzsaw, the effectiveness, all those positives, the energy and strength that he has displayed in doing the things that people like, it may simply be that means he's going to be really aggressive in other ways, and sometimes in some unseemly ways. I don't know if someone exists who can provide all those results and yet be better mannered or more intellectual. If so, great. Maybe we'll meet that person in the election of 2024 after the second Trump term. But if not, let's say that's just not possible. I've spent a lot of time telling people if they're conflicted in that way, I ask them. I say, have you been a fan of everything that he's done? Are there things that and yes, and yes, if the caller is conservative. Then take everything that has driven you a little crazy and take comfort in the fact that it simply does not matter. Did people continue to support Bill Clinton? Good Lord, even after incredible transgressions in the White House? Of course they did. And that wasn't a mystery to me, because they liked what he was doing as president. And that doesn't mean that we're all blind to what you call issues of character. But the most important things will always be what and they should be presidential character. The best sign of presidential character is telling the voters the things you're going to do and then doing them. If you display that DNA of presidential character, other things, the occasional goofy tweet, the occasional offhand comment, the occasional even unkind moment, might not be your favorite thing, but it is a fool's errand to get caught up in that.
Oof. Well, I run a lot of fool's errand, that's for sure.
No, part of it's human nature. Part of it's human nature. But
Hey,
and
it's all
again,
good.
I really more. Listen, it's funny if somebody is against the president, and then it kind of is like icing on top of the cake. I don't agree with anything that he's doing, and by the way, he seems to be a jerk. I totally get that, and there will always be a part. I'm talking really about people who favor him. They love the agenda, but they're
For sure.
conflicted by this other
For
stuff.
sure. I know a lot of people like that.
Get over it. It doesn't matter. However, a bit of, again, it's the agenda that matters. But another bit of human nature is if you take a politician who has some personal quirks, maybe even some personal problems, the people who support that politician will always be in the mood to overlook those things. And the people who don't support that politician will always be in the mood to weaponize those things. And that's true. That'll always be true, traveling in both directions.
Yeah, that's pretty true. I would definitely agree with that. I do find it funny is, again, I'm not really a political person, but I just find it funny. A lot of stuff, again, whether or not you like Trump or dislike Trump, wherever you stand, he does say a lot of funny shit to me. It's just funny. It's just really funny shit. Last night he said, he just says stuff that I'm just like, what? So last night he said, amongst multiple things, I just found it funny. He was like, I'm the least racist person in this room. Every time he says something like that, I'm just like, oh my gosh, what? Don't say that. That doesn't, he cracks me up. I think he just says so many things that are, I'm the best. This is the greatest, right? I find that stuff so funny to me. He sells. I mean, I get it. I know where he comes from.
That's exactly it. You just exactly described it, because as if someone watches, if an alien lands from space and sees the debate last night and says, it simply is not mathematically possible that he knows that he's the least racist person in the world or in the room, and why would he even say that? It is branding. It is messaging. He could have said, it would have been, all right, using Earth logic and a sentence that I might have written, it would have gone like, look, people have been trying to brand me as a racist since the day I came down the escalator in 2015. It simply isn't true. My policies and my personal interactions prove it. And I would offer
absolutely.
that. Yeah, but
that's
what fun is that? What fun is that? Is I'm the least racist person in the room. It just
cracks me up.
We're getting trolled, and the base loves it. The supporters love it. The other, it is part of the entertainment value.